there was a format that Josh shared, and honestly, that format was really helpful because I did also have help with Josh because after I tailored my resume to the default format, I shared it with Josh for him to have a look over. I made one or two corrections and it told me I was good to go, and that was really helpful. And also, the personal touch was really helpful. The fact that, and he responded quite well. I would not have imagined that he would respond that quick. Like I sent it to him maybe like the previous night, and by morning he already responded, giving my feedback. Yeah, that was really good. It was really good.
Hey everybody, Josh here. I'm the owner of the Cyber Range, and this is Sija. She's my friend, of course, and then the operations manager for the Cyber Range. And usually when people get jobs, usually they're in the States, and I like to interview them myself. But because I'm in Asia most of the time, and she lives in the US, Sija offered to do the interviews for me, and she's actually better at interviewing than me anyway. So yeah, enjoy the interview.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So today we have Adora here, who recently received two great offers, one as a technical support role, and another one is cybersecurity analysis position as well. He's agreed to come on the channel and talk about his journeys and share his personal experience. So welcome, Adora.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Will you mind give us a brief introduction about yourself before you joined Cyber Range? What was your background like, and what were you doing career-wise at that time?
All right. Well, I have a background in computer science and I've majorly worked in product. Role was as a product owner. I had briefly worked in IT support just for a few, maybe 2 months thereabout, like just for a short time. So I majorly have a product management background. And I moved to the US, and a friend told me about the Cyber Range, and that's how I came about it.
Okay, so you're saying you used to work as a product manager, and then you
Yeah,
pivot yourself into the IT cybersecurity.
yes.
Yeah. So what makes you wanna have the idea to wanna switch the career?
Essentially, it's an entire switch because working as a product manager, it was always in a tech company anyway. So I've kind of always been in tech, but just not on the cyber side. There were a couple of events that happened while working in my previous organization, a fintech organization, and that kind of spurred me towards cybersecurity. And that actually spurred me to get a master's in cybersecurity. So I do actually have a master's degree in cybersecurity, but however, getting the hands-on experience was something that was quite difficult. So having relocated and moved to a new country, I was just like, okay, what new? Like, could I try something new? And that's essentially what spurred me to that. And also, like the job marketing product has been what it is. So
Yeah, I bet you'll be like how to imagine, right? You change the location and yes, you have the extensive knowledge and degree in back in the country, but now you're in a new market, right? You
yeah,
mentioned that like when you relocate to the US, at the beginning when you're trying to apply jobs, you will like with like zero luck, right? So
yeah.
like what do you think? Like what kind of challenging that you face at that time?
I think also the market itself is tough, and also I would say I would say probably my resume also needed work because coming from a different location, the format here is different, and like the things that recruiters want to see is probably different from what I had, and so that probably affected a lot of things. I would also say maybe the lack of US experience also would be a thing, but yeah, pretty much I would say that.
Yeah, so just you mentioned the resume format and the job hunt guidance that make a huge difference. Can you share more about it?
Also, I haven't gone through the cyber range and like looked through everything, and I got to the job on preparation.
Yes.
There was a format that Josh shared, and honestly, that format was really helpful because, and I did also have help with Josh because after I tailored my resume the default format. I shared it with Josh for him to have a look over. I made one or two corrections and told me I was good to go. And that was really helpful. And also the personal touch was really helpful. The fact that, and he responded quite well. I would not have imagined that he would respond that quick. Like I'd sent it to him maybe like the previous night, and by morning he already responded, gave me my feedback. Yeah, that was really good. It was really good. And it was also helpful to keep track, the job on tracker. So that way I was able to tell. So if I got like a response, I knew when I applied, I knew what role, I could easily retrieve the job description, because sometimes the jobs have closed and you don't have access to it. So even if you have to prepare for the interview, you need to know exactly what you applied for, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
like on some of these job portals, they don't have the description anymore. Like it just shows your application. So it made it easier to go back to it and like prepare with it. And also the GPT prompt to generate questions as well was quite helpful. There was also the deck as well. I
Yeah.
mean, there was just a lot of things that you could use to prepare yourself for the interview and also help with the job hunt process as well.
Yes, we do realize the difficulty about when you apply different jobs, and like it's hard to check, and sometimes like you say the company closed the job, the page, that you don't see any the job description or anything from that. So it's good that you use our checkers to like consolidate everything in one place, so that you can have a better idea like which one is like still in the progress and which one is closed and which one I have to prepare for it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So would you mind sharing how many job applications that you actually log in using that the checkers?
Well, I would say it's over 100, I would say, because it's overwhelming. Like at some point, I lost track. So I would log most of it, but sometimes I'll just be like, this job is kind of like the same as one I've applied. I'll just pick one that I'd already done. But definitely it was over 100 applications.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. So in terms of resume, do you have like one resume, or you have like one or two that apply for different, like maybe GRC or like SOC analysis, like yeah, shoot for different titles?
So I had one resume
Mm-hmm.
that kind of would say fit all, quote unquote, like touch a little bit of everything.
Yes.
And then the main point would be just to edit the keywords. That's the skills that are required for each job. So that was the only thing I kept on editing, not the individual bullets on that job, but just the skills, just to tailor it to the ATS.
Great. Yeah. And between August and December, you landed like multiple interviews and two offers. Like, what specific steps that you took to make that happen?
Nothing special other than just apply and changing the skills, but it's not exactly easy. It's a lot of applications and just looking around, trying different industries. It is just a lot of work, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work,
Okay.
and
So,
a couple of times you also get ghosted. Like probably start a conversation with a recruiter and then you don't hear anything back, or you send an application in and they're conversing with you already, and then they just go ghosting. Like that also happened a couple of times as well.
I see. So being persistent, and also like really trust yourself and practice again about like the interviews and
Yeah,
articulate and use them like anti like deck to practice the interview and maybe ChatGPT, right? So just
yeah,
trying to be the best candidate you can, and then from there you just we don't know how it goes, but then we just make sure we do the best part of ourselves.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Essentially,
Yeah. So, and then another question I want to ask you is like, oh, you start your new job like couple months ago, and how do you what kind of problems that are you working on, and what skills that are you using the most for your current job?
so I haven't started yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't started yet,
Okay.
but I assume it would just be the usual.
Okay. Is it gonna start anytime like this month or next
Yeah,
month?
it's going to start this month.
Oh,
I
nice.
guess it's probably because of the pay period. So
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. Yes, sounds good. So let's circle back to the job search. Like it was really painful for most people, you know, like we trying to using like different search engines to find those jobs. Like do you mind share like what kind of platform that you use to for job hunting?
So I used LinkedIn, Indeed, ZipRecruiter. What else? There was Dice as well. I used quite a lot really, and then I would see the like website for like specific industries as well. See maybe like the government or like universities or things like that. So basically like websites to use. So some like maybe governmentjobs.com, see what they have on there and things like that.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
it was a lot of platforms.
I see. When you're doing your job hunt period, do you submit a job application like let's say 5 or 10 a day, or you keep that consistency, or you just do a batch maybe one day or something? What's your methods?
I try as much as possible to get in at least five a day, but that's not always possible every day. So some
Okay.
days I do get five, some days I would exceed, and some days it's probably only one. And there were days I couldn't do any because of like work, like family commitments and other things. So, but yeah, I do actually try to get five, at least five in. Yeah, I think that's pretty much an optimal number. And usually I would go to the website of the company to
Yes.
apply. I don't know if that makes any difference, but that was one of the tips I got, like applying on the company website. That I think that kind of helps, quote unquote. I'm not sure, but I don't know. You just try.
Yeah. Yeah. Another member mentioned that instead of like applying through the linking or through the third vendor, he did say that he likes to go into the company website and apply from directly, so you get more chance to get an interview. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So for people's rest of the members are trying to break into IT or cybersecurity. So like the salary matters, right? Would you mind sharing the salary range or the level of your position for this new role?
So I would say it's somewhere between 58 to about 75K
Yes.
roughly, just right
Yes.
about that range.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, like I believe that you join this company that you can, you know, slowly work yourself up and like
Yeah,
grow with the company, and then you can have more experience to see what you wanna if you continue working this company and
yeah,
going different, yeah, going to different places. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I think I should also add that I did take the security plus as well, in addition to my other qualifications. So I
Yes.
wouldn't know if that would have made any difference, but I just want to put that out there. I also had to do that as well.
Yeah. So what makes you choose the IT technician, like the technician support role over the other role for these two offers?
That was mostly personal. It was due to family reasons.
Okay.
That was mostly personal. And if I didn't have my family reasons, I most likely would have gone for the cyber role. But
Yes.
yeah, it was just because of family.
Yeah. The good thing is about IT or cybersecurity, they're so diversified, right? So it's not
Yeah,
like we choose this one, we're gonna completely lose the other path of like the
yeah,
opportunity to do anything. So I think what you're doing is the best for you and then for your family. So
yeah.
yeah. So, the next question is that looking back, is there anything that you learned from Cyber Range that you feel it helps you to gain confidence or makes you feel more comfortable through the interview process?
Oh, yeah, a lot really. For example, for the cybersecurity analyst role, there was a lot of questions on the tools like Sentinel. I was asked if I'd used Splunk. They asked what else they asked. Oh yeah, a lot of things. Even things relating to GRC. What would you do in a particular situation? You know, if this event happened, what would you do? And I said something like I would follow the playbook or what we've established. And so the documentation about like the process, what you need to do in a case of an event and things like that. The how do I put it now? The setting of rules
Yes.
in Sentinel, like to track threats
Yeah, or
that also
trigger
came in.
the threat, right?
Yeah, that came in handy as well. Talking about using KQL as
Yes.
well was really helpful. Tenable, scanning devices in Tenable and all was also helpful. Both the cloud scan, internal scan, basically almost it's virtually everything in the cyber range. It was really helpful for the interview. And while I was going through like previous things that Josh had done, I did also see something on Active Directory, a project to set up an Active Directory of 1,000 users. I actually
Yes.
also did that, and I put that on my GitHub as well. So those were really helpful doing the STIG and all the threat hunts and all of that. Everything really, every part of it was helpful. It helps you give insight, like you get insight into what to expect in the real world and what to say. Yeah,
Yes.
in
So
interviews.
do you like share with like your profile or like your GitHub or your project with
Yeah,
the
it's
okay.
yeah,
Yes.
it's on my link. It's on my resume. So yeah.
Okay.
I didn't share it
In the
in the
interview.
interview,
I
but
see.
I did speak about like depending on the question I'm being asked, I'm able to like reference it and say, okay, I've done this before.
Okay. So will you say do you have both technical questions and behavior questions or more leanness to either
Yeah,
one?
both technical and behavioral. Like there's question like if you had this user or you had this manager that came to you for this or this, how would you maybe how would you prioritize their requests considering you had like something else doing or something? Yeah, so they were both behavioral. I think kind of to test whether you know how to handle people, like how to communicate
I see.
and prioritize. Yeah, there's a lot of questions on prioritization on in case you have multiple things happening at once. How do you prioritize to say this is important over this, or how do you manage the situation? How do you
Yeah.
communicate that situation? Yeah, there
Mm.
was questions on that.
Oh, that's really interesting. So when you're saying prioritizing, because everybody have a different like value for how to prioritizing, right? Like how do you
Yeah.
actually know the company is like prioritizing? Do you do some research like before the interview, and how do you know the value of the company, all those stuff?
So for such questions, it isn't exactly the values of the company we're looking at. I think you'll be looking at more of the situation, like because depending on the scenario you've been given, you're going to be looking at that particular scenario.
Yes.
So this goes for any organization. And another thing you could say, or I usually would say, would be I would say maybe based on what is established in the organization. So like
Mm-hmm.
you could give your own example and say, okay, this is what I'll do in this situation based on the facts that have been given. However, I don't know what is obtainable in the organization or what the playbook is. At the end of the day, I would go with what we've established as the playbook. That's after giving what I think based on the scenario I've been given. I would also try to refer back to because they know what they do in the organization or what they will prioritize, right? But I don't have that fact, so I'm only talking based on the scenario and the facts that have been given by them. So it's very important to do something like that. You talk on the facts that you've been given, the scenario
Okay.
you've been given, and then you could also like refer and say, okay, at the end of the day, it would be what we've established as a team or as an organization.
Okay, that's really smart and that's really good way to think like when during the interviews. So like how many interview that you did before for this one job process for this one? How many round of the interview that you did?
You mean for the jobs? So it's kind of like I don't want to go into the organization, but it's a different. It's kind of like a bit of a different recruiting system. So you have some sort of interview-like questions during the application. Like the application is really hectic, where you've got like questions on each. You know how you have the job description, and then
Yes.
you have duties that are expected. So you're being asked like detailed question on each. So if they had 7 items, they want to know like how do you how can you perform those 7 items? So it's kind of like a pre-interview already. They have to. So after that, and then you have like an interview as well. It's kind of like it's a different format from. It's not so different, but it's kind of different. So that was it, and that's
Was it
that.
like a phone interview or in person?
It
The
was
second one
online.
or
It
online?
was online. Yeah, it was online. And then I did have some interviews that they send you a bunch of questions in the email, and
I
then
see.
you answer those. And once you do that, they use that to evaluate, and then they push you to like another level. And it all depends on the organization, to be honest. I had an interview that was say about 4 stages before as well. Oh yeah, I also remember I did have an interview with Amazon that was like, so there was like the first stage, which was a phone interview.
Mhm.
And then there was also another stage where, what did they call this thing again? I can't remember what it's called, but where you have like almost 5, 7 people interviewing you as well.
Or like a panel interview.
There's a name for it. I don't remember right. But yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So every organization they have the way they do their things.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for sharing the interview perspective for the more insight of that. So, and here is the last questions, like for whoever in cyber communities, and is there any advice from your personal experience that you can give to everybody to how to break into the cyber and IT field?
Honestly, I wouldn't really have any advice other than whatever Josh has been saying, which is like, if you can get whatever certification is relevant to the role that you're trying to do, which is just to get HR to see your resume. Obviously, the resume format, the job on track. Also, like very important to do the project so you're able to get a feel and actually be able to relate. Practicing the interview questions, like you look at the organization, the job description, and you use that to generate questions for yourself. I mean, you could use ChatGPT to do that. And obviously researching the company, knowing what they do, and if they use an abbreviation, it makes sense to know the abbreviation because in one of my interviews, I was asked what the name of the company is and what they do, and it was an
Yes.
abbreviation. I was just lucky that I had looked it up. So imagine you being asked like, okay, so what do we do and like what's the name of the company, and you can't say anything about that. That possibly might be like a deal breaker for them. So yeah, it's very important. So I don't really have much to say in terms of advice other than emphasizing the same thing that Josh has always been emphasizing really.
Yeah, and sorry, when you mentioned the certification or like degree, I'm just curious, like before you apply this job, what kind of degree certification that you have?
Well, I have a bachelor's in computer science. I've got a
Uh-huh.
master's in cybersecurity. I've got security plus. I've got certified in cybersecurity by IC Square. Um, I have a degree from BCS, and
Okay.
what's it called? BCS IT something. I don't know. I've got a degree from there. What else? I don't know. I think that's all I can remember right now.
Yeah.
But like
So
you,
So it feels like your certification degrees and your projects and hands-on experience with the enterprise like Tenable, Microsoft Endpoint Detector, all these combine them together that helps you become one of the outstanding candidate for
yeah,
this interview.
yes.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much for joining the call today, and I really appreciate it. They taking the time, and it's really helpful to get all this insight from you. And yeah, I hope to see you around inside my range and also the weekly calls.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yep. Yeah, that's it. Oh, thank you.
So no pressure, obviously, but if you're serious about getting into cybersecurity or you just want real non-sandbox hands-on experience with actual enterprise tools in a live shared network, you can get all of that in the Cyber Range. In the past year, we've done about 100 employment verifications. That is like real employers reaching out to us to confirm experience for people in the community that have actually landed jobs. When you onboard into the community, you'll get issued credentials for access to our company's actual network, which is a real live corporate environment with over 1,200 users and fully licensed enterprise security stack with platforms like Tenable Vulnerability Management, Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, and Microsoft Sentinel. And just like at a real security job, we'll provide training covering everything that you'll encounter, from enterprise vulnerability management to threat hunting to general security operations as well. And you'll get experience and training better than if you were hired as a corporate junior SOC analyst. Every week, we also have a cybersecurity threat hunt and capture the flag challenge where you can compete for cash prizes while building legit resume experience at the same time. And this isn't a simulation, it's like real infrastructure with real users, real attacks, and organic logs that you'll have hands-on access to. So if you're interested, check out the link in the description, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.